Welcome to today's Flip Nerd VIP show. Today I have with me an exciting guest, Ray Higdon, who is a national sales trainer and coach, has sold a number of bestsellers on Amazon, and is a seven-figure coach and trainer to folks in the real estate industry and a lot of other industries, network marketing. Before we get started today, it's going to be an exciting interview, but let's take a second to recognize our featured sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days. Rates start as low as 9%. We'd also like to thank National Real Estate Insurance Group, the nation's leading provider of insurance to the residential real estate investor market. From individual properties to large-scale investors, National Real Estate Insurance Group is ready to serve you. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. So Ray, welcome to the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Exciting to see you. So you're somewhere warm, obviously, which a lot of us that are watching the show are not. You're down in South Florida, is that right?
I am. It's a little chilly actually today. I think it's 67, so it's
it's all relative.
Chilly, just hanging out on my back porch here.
That's all relative. I guess that I was talking to somebody earlier, another guest that we're going to have on soon, and it was supposed to snow 6 inches where he was at today. So I guess it's all relative. Well, hey,
this is true.
We talked a little bit before we started the show today, and we actually have never talked personally before, but you're somebody that I've followed on social media. And although you primarily operate in the network marketing space, you've got a lot of great lessons about training and teaching and treating people right. And as we talked a little bit, there are really a lot of similarities in network marketing on a lot of other industries. Really, for entrepreneurs, we all face a lot of the same issues in terms of leadership and creating a business that we don't have to be involved in every single minute of every single day and things like that. Right. And I've really admired everything that I know about you and everything that I've seen you do. So I'm glad you could join us as a guest today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Well, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess consider myself a sales and marketing trainer, and a lot of times I'm speaking at different events and things like that. And my primary niche is home-based business or in network marketing. But a lot of times I'm asked to speak at RIAs or speak and train insurance agents. Just last week or the week before, I had a group of insurance agents that wanted me to help them with their scripts and how to close more people. So, I guess my specialty has always been in training, and it's something that I do have a history in real estate actually,
right.
And that kind of led me to where I am. I'm happy to talk about that as much as you would like.
Sure.
But yeah, life's been good. I went through some tough times like most people. Went through personal foreclosure, lost it all, and it was simply by me not adapting to a changing economy. But we were able to bounce back, and 2010 was my best income year ever until 2011, until 2012, until 2013, and so it's we've been on a pretty good run here for a few years, and this year should be no different.
That's awesome. Well, why don't you tell us just a high level about your experience in real estate,
Sure.
And kind of the good and the bad parts of it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's certainly both.
Yeah.
So I read my first book on real estate April 2004. And June bought my first duplex. Me and a partner, we just saw, residual income just makes so much sense. And so if we could get, a unit producing more than $100, or more, obviously a month on cash flow, then we would buy it. And, we put home equity lines, and, we were buying in the first, I think 11 or 12 months, we bought 37 units, triplexes, single families, duplexes. And, so that was kind of the plan. The plan was to build up a huge portfolio, make a bunch of residual income cash flow wise. And then it was funny because we were very, very strict on our numbers. And there was one deal that it was close to our numbers, but it wasn't quite close enough. And I just decided, I'm like, you know what? we're good negotiators. We got it for a decent price, just not our price. Maybe I can get someone else to buy this. And so I learned wholesaling and, made $8,000 on that contract. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And so I'm like, that was a lot easier.
Yeah.
And so started, at first it was me, I was turning, 5, 6, contracts a month. And then I trained about a dozen negotiators basically. And we started flipping, quite a few houses. So we probably flipped about 200, contracts, and we did some fix and flips here and there.
But this was all in South Florida?
98% of it was South Florida. There was some North Florida that we did that, we didn't really like doing. We liked being able to, just be closer to the action. Yep. And so we catered to investors. And, when the financing changed, that entire model just didn't work for us.
Right.
And so, I didn't really adapt. I went through a period of pretty deep depression and I got beat up pretty good. But you know what? It led me back around to the whole point I got into real estate, which was residual income. Yeah. And now we train people how to create residual income and whatever it is that they're focused on. So it was a great lesson. Learned a lot. Yeah. And I'm thankful that it happened early on in life versus later on.
Yeah. And so when all that kind of crashed, what year was that? Is it 2007, 2008?
Yeah, it was 2008 is when it really, really hit me. Yeah. One of the things, we were putting $25,000, $30,000 a month into advertising and marketing. And so there started being this sliding scale of, wait a minute, deals aren't closing. Well, they'll close next month. They'll close next month. They're closing. And so about 6 months into that, I'm like, whoa, we're bleeding a lot of money. Yeah. And none of these things are closing. Right. And I remember December 2008, Christmas. I was with my kids, but not with my kids because I was so stressed out financially. Yeah. And, and then, just one year later, I had created a $10,000 a month income, very residually in a completely different niche. And it's been fantastic ever since. So, whatever your passion is, my passion is training and coaching people how to be, top earners. And whatever your passion is, you can make money at. Yeah.
Yeah. And why don't you talk a little bit about that? I think, like I said, some of the similarities with real estate investing and network marketing and a lot of the things that you focus on in sales and training really as a whole in pretty much every industry is that you've got to hustle, you've got to network and meet people. You can never meet too many people. They say your network is your net worth, right? And that's true in so many industries, which is why, in all honesty, a lot of the guests I've had up to this point have direct connections into real estate. And obviously you have a real estate, some background there, but there's so many similarities in what you do and what you teach that I wanted to have you on. But can you talk a little bit about some of the things you just alluded to of taking personal responsibility? And sure. I think there's a big part of entrepreneurs that a big part of what drives us is the drive to have control over your financial destiny, and your life and your lifestyle and your family's life and all those things. Obviously, even though you kind of struggled in the real estate business, and in all honesty, who didn't struggle in real estate in 2008 in Florida? It's not like you were the one guy that was unlucky there, but obviously you had the drive to kind of get back. Why don't you talk a little bit about that entrepreneurial drive and what it takes to be successful as a self-employed person or entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would say, in this context, there's 4 things that are important, that are really, really important. I could talk about this for a long time. Number one, value. Putting value into the marketplace, and value could be you referring someone to someone. Value could be you making someone feel better. Value could be you training people. And so in real estate, I started a real estate investor association. I had chapters in Pittsburgh, chapters in Morgantown, West Virginia. And, so I always provided value. I always understood value, not to the degree that I understand it now, but I always understood it. So, a lot of free training, a lot of things to help people. So number one, whatever you're trying to be successful in, provide value, be a value provider. Number two, and this is, more for maybe scalability and things, but you want to know how to sell, and so I was always really good at creating scripts for, real estate, for network marketing, for whatever, and teaching people the tonality tricks, teaching people the things that they need to do to close more sales. And
Right.
I'll give you one quick example. One thing that we did really well is, we would call on FSBOs, and with a for sale by owner, one of my kind of famous things that I would teach all my people is whatever they're asking for, obviously that's not what we want to give them, right? And so one little tonality shift that I taught is, hey, listen, I know you'd like $200,000 for your house, and man, I'd love to give that to you, but the reality is this is what the market, and so just that little transition there is very powerful. And then you give them, what's happening, and obviously you don't do business with everybody. Number 3, investing in yourself. In the last 11 months, my wife and I, and we sell coaching, and I think, a lot of coaches, maybe they think that they've arrived, right?
Right.
We haven't arrived. In the last 11 months, we've spent $134,000 in just coaching. That's not products.
Right.
That's not events. That's not travel. That's just coaching.
Right.
And, so we're always looking to raise the bar, raise the bar, raise the bar. And lastly, vision, creating the vision of where you really want to go. And this is something that so few people teach. They teach you how to write goals, and goals don't stick. You got to have a vision. You got to know, what will your neighbors think when you move into that new area? What will your neighbors think when you drive in, to that new car, whatever that car may be? What will your high school sweetheart think when he or she sees you, massively successful? And how will you feel when you're on stage in front of 100,000 people? If that's your goals, you know. But creating and crafting that vision is just so important for you to succeed. In the realm of value, one of the most beneficial books for me, and I've now, very gratefully become friends with them, is Bob Burg's Endless Referrals. I can tell you that was a pivotal book for me for real estate, because it taught me how to be not so go for the throat salesy in the wrong environment.
Right.
At one point I was, if I met you at a networking meeting, I'm trying to close you, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you step back, you can actually you can go faster by going slower. Mm-hmm. And so, that book really helped me to more develop relationships. And, if I'm talking to a lead or a prospect, that's a different story. I'm mission centric. But if I'm networking, that's a different story. And so a lot of people get that wrong.
Right.
And so be of value, help people, listen. Listening is the most important skill, and develop out your niche, and, have that vision, and always think to yourself, how scalable are you? How scalable are you? And that was a big lesson for me, in that there was a point where I was making good money, but I was stressed to the max. My lifestyle sucked, had a lot of overhead, and just, it was all dependent on me.
Right.
Now, I literally could, just stay at home in pajamas and make plenty of money and continue to scale up. So think about scaling with whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of folks that struggle, especially entrepreneurs, that struggle from creating a business with the intention of creating something that, they never think, I'm going to create myself a job, but they do. It's hard. It's hard to, when you're the key man or the key woman in your company, it's hard to, a lot of us have gotten to where we are by being control freaks, or, it's hard to hire people to work as hard as you will. Everybody, a lot of folks that have employees, those employees generally are not, they don't have the same mentality as you do as the owner. They don't think of working a little bit harder, or working on the weekends or evenings, or whatever it takes to get things done, because it's not their business. They're generally, depending on how you're aligned and how you compensate them, they're not, they don't have the same interest as you. So when you talk about kind of your vision, so my wife is huge on this, we've got vision boards, and she's meditating every morning, and really kind of an inspiration for me, she's pulling me along in a lot of ways. But what are there any kind of simple tools or things that you use to kind of document that vision and visit it often? And tell us a little bit about how you do that with a spouse, because clearly if you're not aligned with your vision of the things you want with your spouse, and you're both chasing the same thing, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah. It's an interesting phenomenon. My wife and I actually, we work together, and, I'm very blessed in that way, but I also really designed it that way. I went through a divorce. I was engaged to someone for 4 years and got disengaged. And it was at that point, after just having some relationships that just didn't work out for one reason or another, I wrote down exactly what I wanted. I wanted obviously, someone who's beautiful, someone who has a great sense of humor, someone who got along with my kids, got along with my friends, someone who was ambitious, someone who supported me, someone who was grateful. So I actually designed I wrote it all down and then happened to meet her, right? And, so she, for example, in November, she did a Facebook product launch that did almost 900,000 in sales. So she's, you probably might learn that she's actually the better person to interview than me, but we both have a whole lot of fun together. The key thing that I find with spousal support is you need to be real with them. So I'm going to give you some suggestions. Okay. Number one, find all the things that you're grateful for, okay, versus all the things that piss you off. And that's something that you do early on in a relationship, and it tends to kind of change for most people, at least, as they live together and stay together longer. Even if that spouse is not supporting you at the time, look for what are you grateful for. You're grateful maybe that they go to a job, or that she cleans, or whatever, or he cleans. Whatever. I don't want to be sexist, but whatever the things that you're grateful for, focus on those things, and then be real with them. Okay, sit down with your spouse and say, listen, I'm going to run for this thing. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to take action, and really sit down with them and be real with them and tell them what you're going to do, and then go do it. The thing with a support line is it shouldn't be never ending, where they just keep supporting you, and you never do anything, or you never make money, or you never create anything of value or whatever. It can't be a never ending support line, because that gets old. And I can tell you, from coaching a lot of people that their spouses weren't necessarily supportive at first, you start making money, they start becoming supportive.
Yeah.
That's just the deal. You start taking them on trips to Fiji or trips to wherever, they start becoming supportive. And the thing is, a lot of people, they look for endless support with no results. That's not going to work. I mean, even the most precious of spouse shouldn't do that.
Right.
Okay, they shouldn't support you forever, with no results at hand. You need to get to work.
Right.
And so, that's some of the suggestions. And then, from there you kind of design. My wife and I, we looked at how can I capitalize on my strengths and she capitalize on her strengths. So there's some things that I do she does not want to do. There's some things she does I don't want to do. And you have to figure that out.
Right.
One of you, maybe you prefer working the phone leads. One of you, maybe you don't. One, maybe, I'm a content creator. I create, 5 to 7 blog videos every single week in, week out for years. And, she doesn't like to do that, right? But she also likes the phone. She likes calling leads and things like that. So design that out. As far as vision, there's a point, and I don't know, where it is for everybody. At first, your vision, if you're not getting massive results, it needs to be almost selfish. And I know maybe that sounds weird, but selfish in a way that you see yourself with those things, okay? With the car, with the house, with the money, with the speaking on stage, with, whatever, with the envious looks from others, with the, whatever, right? With the I told you so kind of attitude.
Yeah.
At some point it can switch, where now, like, for example, 3 of our coaching clients are top 10 earners in their companies out of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of reps. They're in the top 10. And, all 3 different companies. Why is that? It's because, you follow a system and it works. And so you start to kind of switch. Once you've hit certain benchmarks in your life, you start to say, you know what, this year I want to have 50 of my coaching clients speak on stage. I want to have 10 of my clients write a best-selling book. I want to have 7 of my clients make over $500,000, and you start to switch, and that creates a new feeling within you. Very hard to generate that feeling if you're operating out of scarcity. If
Right.
you're not making enough money to cover the bills or experience life the way it's meant to be experienced, it's hard to really get jacked up focusing on others' goals when you still have those. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's kind of how we've switched. At one point, the goals were all me, and there's nothing wrong with that, because the thing is, for you to accomplish those goals, you have to create value for others, or you won't accomplish them. So there's nothing wrong with those goals at first. At some point, it may switch for you.
Yeah. And in my experience too, it helps kind of motivate you to get there. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get those things, because there have been things that I've said, once I hit this income threshold in my business or my job or whatever it is, I'm going to buy a Rolex or I'm going to buy a fancy car.
Sure.
When I got to that point, I usually didn't want those things, but it kind of helped motivate me to get there. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so focus on the feelings.
Right.
You know, what's the feeling like? You know, actually in Dallas, 2 months ago, we spoke in front of 6,000 people. Right. See, I spoke in front of 6,000 people before I spoke in front of 6,000 people, because I'd visioned it. What would it feel like? I knew what I was going to wear. I knew what I was going to say. I already had generated that feeling within me, and I already knew how the crowd would respond. It was a full entire stadium of standing people, all fired up. I had created that feeling before I actually experienced it. And so, focus the feelings, to me, I mean, we've won cars and stuff like that. I'm more of an experience guy. Yeah. Like I want, when we honeymooned in Fiji and we did all these, I'm an experience guy. I want experiences way more than material stuff. But that stuff's nice too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about, obviously in network marketing, same thing in real estate investing. There's a ton of folks that, it tends to be a high failure rate and most of it really is because a lot of folks turn it into a hobby. They don't really get committed to being successful in what they're doing. And in all honesty, they have a tendency, especially in real estate, to have been oversold. They went to a weekend boot camp, or they went to, read a book, and this all sounds so easy, but when you get into it, it's not that easy. So talk a little bit about, what it takes to get, for an individual, I guess, to really kind of, burn the boats and be committed to something without cutting themselves off from whatever is, kind of, if it's a job or income. I mean, there's some folks that it would be disastrous for them to quit their job and go, invest everything in something that
sure.
But of course, if they really believe, they can maybe make it happen. But just talk a little bit about that transition from something that, is a hobby to being totally committed and all in, if you will.
Yeah, a couple things there. One, I don't suggest, it's a very rare person that can quit their job and actually fill and manage that time appropriately to build a business, whatever that business is. So I tell people, if you can't build your business part-time, you also can't build it full-time. I mean, you have to want it. You got to go to work 9 to 5 and then go to work 6 to midnight. That's just the deal. If you want to, again, real estate, network marketing, anything, I believe, you can't build it part-time. You also can't build it full-time. You got to manage your time. Your time management will dictate the velocity of your success. And so I found one thing that actually was frustrating for me in real estate was I felt like I felt like there's a lot of people out there that just aren't making money, and they're spending a lot of money on courses and things like that.
Right.
The best thing about network marketing is also the worst thing about network marketing, and that is it's low barrier to entry. Your typical course is $200, something like that, and you're typical to start your business. It's not thousands, it's hundreds. And so some people treat it like that. They treat it like a hobby. They treat it like they do it whenever they feel like it, right? So that's true. I don't see a lick of difference as far as level of success in real estate percentage-wise versus network marketing. I just don't see any difference in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. It's just the same old, same old. It's who creates a vision, who takes action, who is consistent, and that's the deal. So you got to be, one of the best books on this type of topic is by Gary Vaynerchuk called Crush It, in that he talks about how he was managing at the time a $15 million wine company and spending 4 to 5 hours a day on Twitter answering wine questions, and he built that to a $45 million business. And I've since had the absolute pleasure of sharing the stage with him on 2 different events now. And so it's you gotta want it, man. You gotta want it really bad. Yeah. And what I find is there's a big difference in anything between the hungry and the needy. The needy need, you, Mike, to hold their hand and walk them step by step, every single thing to do. The hungry, whether you show up or not, they're going to make it happen.
Right.
The hungry, whether they have a great mentor or not, they're going to make it happen. Now, a mentor cuts down your time, right? You can kind of skip a few phases with a mentor and take an action, but the hungry, they'll make it happen no matter what.
Right.
I mean, I had read one book, and then bought real estate, right? Because I took action. And, I remember saying this, I hadn't been to a real estate investor course, and we had already bought a whole bunch of different rentals. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that because we could have been smarter, right?
Yeah.
But action is the absolute key. And, one quote that I really like is pain pushes you until a vision pulls you. And that's by Michael Beckwith. And, that's very powerful for me, because what I find is there's a lot of people in pain, and they let pain kind of, punch them around. And,
right.
Non-successful people focus on their circumstances. They focus on the lack of money. They focus on their lack of time, the lack of support, the lack of blah, 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 blah. Whereas successful people focus on where they're going. They focus on their vision. They focus on their goals, and they go make it happen despite all those other things, despite that the dog bit them, despite that the car broke down, despite that their dad broke. They make it happen despite. Right. And that's the biggest difference I see between successful and non-successful.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your coaching business. So, traditionally, and this is from somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience in network marketing, a little bit, but not a lot. It seems that typically folks that are in your same network marketing company are the ones that you'd be helping, because you have some benefit. If they win, you win, all those things.
Sure. Talk
a little bit about coaching folks that are in totally different businesses, and how that works for them and for you.
Yeah, I don't publicly advertise my like personal coaching. I do group coaching, and we'll, with the right kind of people, we do, more personal coaching. But, the deal with any kind of coaching is you want to hire someone for a specific purpose. And, our thing is, we teach you how to have effective marketing. We teach you how to close more sales, period. And so we teach people how to get more leads, recruit more salespeople, and become top earners in their industry. And, we're living proof. I mean, my blog is rated under 20,000 in the world on Alexa, under 6,000 in the US for traffic. Our coaching and training business cranked out over $1 million last year. And, we've done webinars that did over $300,000 in sales. So a lot of times, I just got a testimonial in from someone that took my presenting course, which I barely even advertise. And they have a business that teaches Hollywood actors how to get gigs.
Oh, wow.
And in their very first webinar, they did $57,000 in sales. Now, that has nothing to do with network marketing, right? But, if you teach the basic persuasion skills and closing tactics on, how to close on webinars versus, how to close face-to-face or over the phone, it works,
Yeah.
So we put out a lot of free value, too. There's a lot of people that just aren't ready for coaching not because they don't believe in the coach, but because they don't believe in themselves. And so, we roll that out, too. So there's a lot of people that, just visit our site and check out our training that that don't buy stuff, and that's cool too.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not in network marketing, but a lot of what I do is similar. And I actually bought a training course from you a while back on YouTube marketing or video marketing. So there's some interesting things there. Obviously, I'm doing a bunch of videos
cool.
type things now, but yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you teach that folks certainly outside of network marketing and real estate could benefit from. And we'll definitely add a bunch of links below the video for the stuff that you think makes most sense. How do folks get a hold of you if they want to learn more about you and follow along with some of the free training and things like that you provide?
Yeah, my website, it's real simple, real easy to remember. It's rayhigdon.com, RAYHIGDON.com. And really for the giveaway, I have a free giveaway like most websites. On that website is 29 sources of leads. And it's 29 places to be able to pick up leads and prospects, and for any niche, really. I give you 29. It's a free audio you can listen to on your phone or on your computer, and 29 different places to locate leads, whether it's for real estate, whether it's for network marketing or whatever, and you can get that free. And then, we blog 5 to 7 times a week and put out, some good value there on leadership, mindset, sales, closing, marketing. And if that's a benefit to somebody, then, feel free to check it out.
Great. Well, we'll add those links below. And anything you want to add, Ray, about just from a motivational standpoint about how how to help people be successful, or how people should think about, let's say it's early, we're still early here in 2014, what people should be thinking about how to have a killer 2014?
You know, it really is about creating that vision. You know, I mean, what is, you know, how, seeing the faces of the people around you when they see you successful. What's the feeling that you'll have when, you know, when you get that award, or, you know, you flip that first property, or you build that business out, or, you know, whatever. You really need to build that vision, because that vision will pull you. You know, when my feet hit the ground every morning, and, you know, I'm kind of an early riser. I don't try to be. I haven't used an alarm clock in probably a decade. But you know, I'm just an early riser. When my feet hit the ground, my vision is pulling me every single day. It's not something that I'm like, oh man, I got to grind again today. I mean, I love the climb. I love the grind. And you want to love the climb and grind. Design, instead of looking for what works, look for what you want. You know, we've designed our life the way that we want. We operate, you know, we travel a lot. We've been all over the world, and, you know, we operate the way that we want, and you can do that too.
Yep. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for joining us today, Ray. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, and hopefully our paths will cross soon.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Take care. Have a good day.
You too, man.
Bye-bye. Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit FlipNerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry, so get on over to FlipNerd.com.